Good morning, everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mr. Craven. All right, guys, so I'm still working on the Undaunted. I did, City of Ash 5 times yesterday. Still didn't get the drop I was looking for, so I'm hoping when City of Ash 2 comes out, I'll get it then. So it's a process. We got runes today. We got Dark Shade Caverns 2. Looks like it. Yep. And Tempest. These are some serious dailies. Alright. Really quick before I start, one of my viewers was asking about this build, what this build is. It's not done yet, but I'll get into it really quick. Morning Mustang. So I'm currently using Night Mothers. On the bow side, it's 4. So I have a bow of Night Mothers, Nirnhone, axe of Night Mothers, infused, axe of Night Mothers, decisive, Storm Fist set. This one's infused. 2-throw. Everybody knows, all of you guys know, I use 2-throw on the Stam Sorc. That's my primary set at all times on Stam Sorc. Why? Because I use the skill Bound Armaments. The reason being, I don't want to use Camouflage Hunter or any of the other ones for the Major Savagery, right? I want to go ahead and use 2-throw for the Major Savagery because the Bound Armaments gives me an increase towards stamina by 8%. Also increases my heavy attacks by 11%. I want to capitalize on this. This is what separates the Stamina Sorc from every other class. So I want to take advantage of that. But the one set that gives me that capability without having to use Camouflage Hunter is the 2-throw set. I can slot any other set as a secondary, and that's why we're going to go with the Night Mothers. Because the reason being, that's why I made the slight adjustment, because the Night Mother, so long as I'm hitting a crit, will add the debuff. Because anytime I deal a critical damage, I reduce the my enemy's physical resistance by 2,490 for 6 seconds. The reason I'm also using the axes is to help me proc my Stormfist Guide. So it's going to add a bleed effect. Now, if I went with the maces, I could actually deal maybe a little bit more damage for the penetrating value. But if I'm at cap, it doesn't do me any good. But maces is really good. It allows you to adjust the value a lot easier on stamina builds. But axes are really good because if you're hitting closer to the pen cap, you get that extra bleed effect, that extra dot damage. That helps proc up your Stormfist guys or any other monster set proc if it's not direct. So that's why we go with the axes. Now I also need to transmute this or get another medium. So my heavy is my head, and then I use a light sash of Night Mothers. Then I use my two-throw bracers. I have my infused Night Mothers guards, and then I have the jewelry all in 2-throw. Nothing's gold yet except the bow. And I use this setup until I get my Alkosh and my Ophidian, my Vicious Ophidian. Now, the funny thing about it is I prefer Alkosh on my Stam Sorc. Why? Because he's up in the middle of the battle, and usually I hit those synergies really fast. So I do prefer the Alkosh because the Night Mother configuration is pretty similar. And then, of course, I use the Lover Mundus. And then, of course, on the bow side, I'm looking at 59 crit. I usually like to stay between 55 and 60. But on the, because I'm doing that, and I went Red Guard instead of Khajiit. I usually have a Khajiit Stam Sorc on my main, but this is a Red Guard, so I'm underneath that 55. It's not a deal breaker, but I'm at 54.1. I could go with the dagger to offset the difference, or go with one precise. But once again, I could go precise, and I might do that. But I like the decisive right now. Just helps me generate ultimate. But if you want to up that crit on that side, you can go with a precise axe, and you'll be good. I go with the infused main hand for the switch. Just goes ahead and helps me reduce that enchantment cooldown. And I go with the Nirnhone on the the main for the bow, because that's where a lot of my AoEs or my other dot damage is deriving. Just helps give it a little bit more of a punch. So that's how I set it up. That's me personally. So I'm going to go ahead and queue them up. This could be interesting. This is all going to be depending on your party here. So I'm going to go for the Tempest, and I will get the normal Maz in. I don't know if I did normal Maz on this tune yet, but I need that point. Tempest. And then, like I said, once my Undaunted gets unlocked about 6, then I'll start doing vet DLCs. I feel comfortable then. Sometimes I always tell people, that's pretty much by ear call. And let me see here. I have some skill points. I'm still unlocking things. Need that expert mage unlocked still, so that's a working process. Bow I'm still working on too. Got that medium. I need to pick up those passives there. That'll throw my my up. Get a couple of these passives. Undaunted's at 5. Everything else is kind of unlocked. Like I said, it's a process. Just because once you get to 50, that's not your end game objective. You have to go ahead and continue to work those passives, get those sky shards, and a lot of people think I put a lot of time because I have all these characters. Well, just because I get them done and I get them up there, I have to skip a lot of content to get those characters up and get them up to where I need them to be for what purpose I'm using them for. So I'm never truly done in this game when it comes to finalizing one character or content. And while I'm waiting, I guess I could go get some sky shards. Nice thing I love about also PC is the add-ons. I'm not gonna lie, they do come in handy a lot. So see, like over here, I haven't even been to this part of go ahead, and I also pick up the rapid maneuver for when I'm doing stuff like this, because I don't have a lot of time in on mount speed. Sometimes I'll pre-make the characters. This one had a little bit of pre-made, a couple of weeks ahead of time and stuff, and months. I just sat on them, and I'll train up their mounts. If that's my granddaughter. Her grandma is babysitting her today, and I think she just woke up. I'm gonna mute this for a minute until she calms down. I'll be right back, guys. Now, here's another thing I really want to talk about, too. I will never use, on a setup like this, I'll never use dual wield, any dual wield from VMA, Maelstrom, or, the Sanctorium, because I want that double stack. Morning Todd, because that double stack's giving me the extra bonus effect. Now, here's the deal. I could use the bow, the master bow, but if I get the master bow, I would sacrifice my Nirnholm for precise. This is very important. I'm telling you guys this. Why would I want precise instead of my Nirnholm in this scenario? Because I'm losing the 804 crit, right? I'd be sacrificing that 4th bonus on Night Mothers, which is a critical value. When I sacrifice any 4-piece for a Master or Maelstrom or Sanctorium weapon, I have to be willing to replace the traded value that I'm losing for the stat. So if this was weapon damage, right? Say my 4th piece is weapon damage, I'd want Nirnhone. If it's critical value, I want precise. If it's max stamina, I want infused. You see where I'm going with that? How it works out? The reason being, Nirnhone is trait is the equivalent to weapon damage or spell damage. The max stat would be the equivalent of the infused trait for weapon. And of course, the critical value is the relevance to precise. And that is exactly why you have to pay attention if you're deciding to use, if you decide to use those weapons, what you have to gain in that trait for your setup. So pay attention to the force. So if you have running a double stack with a proc on the back end, like this build does, then you really need to understand what value you're needing. So if I was running something more like Spriggans, right? If I was running a Spriggan set, I'd have a max stamina. I would go infused. If I was running a tooth, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to think of it. It's off to Two-Fang. If I'm running Two-Fang set, I'd go Nirnhone. Why? Because that, I believe, no, it would be critical. Now I have to look it up. Anyways, whatever the 4th piece bonus is, I would offset that difference with the trait. So that's how I always do it. That's how I always do it. I make no exception to the rule whatsoever. It's just kind of like my thing, and it always works out for me, and it really does help. Because you don't want your... Here's the thing. You don't want your stat sheet to drop, right? You don't want to sacrifice your hardcore stats for anything in this game. Unless you're building specifically for PvP. PvP, all rules are out the window. DPS queuing can suck. It's all about getting your values in the right place. Exactly, Todd. It's exactly what it is. That's the whole point. And a lot of people will sacrifice that and not think to themselves, oh shit, what did I do? You know? And that's why we all know that we don't try to chase BIS, because sometimes when people do that, they sacrifice those base values or don't take into effect the diminishing rates, and it'll fuck them in the end. They'll lose DPS. They'll lose very important stats. And that's why we have to pay attention to the indifferent values. And the devs do a great job. They're really good at it. Alright. Is the boss up this way? I try to hit the boss up when I'm in these places. Yeah, wrong button. Maybe I skipped it, or somebody killed it. Oh well. It's B. Alright, there it is. Speaking of. Alright. Beldam Night Mother Impen got in a 20-man group last night in PvP. Nobody on voice comms. Another problem with EP. I saw your message last night, and right. I mean, I was so busy. So last night, guys. So Todd is on PS4, and we both play Vivek, right? On PvP. And I have this ritual. I'm not a hardcore PvPer like some players are. So I only get about maybe 8 to 9 hours a week, unless I'm hardcore PvPing a week. And then I usually will get like, 4 hours or something a day on the weekends. And then usually within that time period, I can, if I'm going a little bit more hardcore, I'm usually in the top 100. But right now I haven't been because, I've been focused on this. But these guys, EP, some people were making the push to get us like out of the chokehold areas. And all of a sudden, AD does the tactic they always do. They take King's Crest or Fargot. And then all of a sudden, people are like trying to get these keeps back. And that's, a distraction ploy for their real objective, which is Arius, or to push us out of BRK. So all of a sudden they redirect. We lose BRK in the process. They're up in Arius all the time now, and people we lose BRK because they were trying to get King's Crest. I just went back to my usual solo play. I like to see how many bounties I can turn in playing solo. I usually play with small groups or or solo myself, and then my couple of my friends will get a hold of me, and sometimes we'll make a group. I have some really good footage last night where we were putting dents in tower farmers. We were like chasing out tower farmers. We were doing all sorts of shit, and it was really cool, man. And then people are like, "Oh, we're gonna expose you and stuff," and I'm like, "Dude, we all die, man." So we all die. A lot of people hate this new build I came out with because you have to have, if you can get 2 players who are really good and my shit doesn't proc up right and they know how to kind of, work it, they can beat me. But you can't 1v1 the build unless, I'm caught off guard and I'm not, putting any shields or anything. So it's really almost next to a pain in the ass to try to take the build out. But it's designed to do that, man. It's intentional. But I don't deal damage, man. I don't deal anything. Yep, same of old, same. Right, it is what it is. I'm going to re-queue this. I know I'm DPS, and it can be whatever, but sometimes I feel like the queues get kind of locked up, But, the funny thing about it is, from a PvP standpoint, it's like it gets frustrating, especially when you have the Green Alliance going down. And the Green Alliance has become such a problem on PS4. It's becoming, oh, sweet. It's becoming such a pain in the ass. It's like, really, guys? I mean, come on, man. I mean, is it got to be like this? Place me in front of the queue. Hey, Wiggly. Morning. But, it's the funny thing about it is, you kind of get frustrated. Now, when I come on to, I don't PvP, like I said, I don't PvP all that much compared to some. But when I PvP on, PC, they don't have all that kind of cheap tactics going down. It's more like it's about your group or what you're trying to do as a solo player. Or, you have stupid shit everywhere, but group play, definitely. There's a lot of people who go ahead, push the Zerg. That's normal. And then there's other players who are like trying to coordinate and make strategic moves. I was on my Templar last night. Troll King, Ravager, Werewolf Hide works pretty good. Oh, dude, kick ass. Someone was actually talking about Werewolf, but they were going to use something else with it. A friend of mine, and I thought it was kind of interesting because I could see the perks of using a set like that. You know. But they wasn't using it for like a werewolf build, but they wanted that set. There are a bunch of good sets out there, and me and my one friend who quit playing ESO, because I'm Daggerfall on. I have 2 EP tunes on here because I didn't have any Race Any Alliance, and I needed to recopy 2 builds. But all my other characters are DC. This character is a DC character. And I made them DC because my real life friend played Daggerfall. And of course he quit the game because he got tired of dungeon sets and world sets being better than PvP sets for Stam because he's a Stam build. And he got frustrated with it. He's like, I want a PvP. I don't want to go out in the world and farm. I don't want to do dungeons. He's like, I want to PvP. Why isn't ZeniMax giving me my own set to get that makes my class and build more viable and competitive? And he got frustrated and he left. He loved the game. He loved the PvP environment of Cyrodiil. Took him back to kind of the older days with Dark Age of Camelot and stuff, but he just got frustrated. And I mean, and I understand it, you know, and I'm like, I honestly wish, I wish the same thing. Which faction has the best community on PC? Well, Kevin, well, it's so different. I mean, on console it's different, but on PC you kind of find it's all about who you put yourself around more than the community, because there's like bullshit everywhere. I'm not even gonna grab that. There's bullshit everywhere in every platform. But on PC, I can literally say, if you get around certain people, like I play Daggerfall. I don't want people to know that, because I didn't know, like, a lot of the top YouTubers were Daggerfall. I knew Fang Rush was. But being that a lot of the top players are Daggerfall, I'm like, I don't want people to know I'm Daggerfall, so I always stay in Mournhold. So, you know, and I do play my EP too. Now, if I play on my EP, I won't play DC character that campaign at all. I'm kind of like, that's the way it goes for me. So if I'm on my Nightblade healer, I pay respect. But the communities are great on every side, Kevin. I can literally say that. Like, you'll bump into ass hats on every side, and you'll bump into really good communities on all the sides of the spectrum. But the fact that we have more of the known players on DC on PC, it's kind of weird. DC PC. A lot of people want to go towards DC, but I don't want to try to feed that. I mean, if they had a faction swap, if ZeniMax ever puts a faction tokens where you can switch alliances, like they do with your races and stuff, I would probably switch a few back to EP, because EP needs some love on this platform as far as like streamers go. But you know, that's the way it is. I think ZOS does that to try to get folks that PvP to diversify their gameplay and vice versa, right? You know, and that's understandable, you know, but it is, you know, it's that thing. 1 second, I think this is my daughter. I might have to cut the stream early. That would suck. Yes, it is. 1 second. All right, guys. Unfortunately, I have to cut the stream. I wanted to get this queue, but I didn't get the queue, and my daughter needs me. And, you know, real life is what it is. So I need to get going. I need to go help my daughter out. But if you guys have any questions, comments, post below. I'll try to get on later this afternoon and do some streams. But Fridays, I usually get on the PS4. And this is my day. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, after my streams, I do my real life stuff. Except today, it's calling me ahead of time. I got to do that, then go do other things that I have to be do. It's responsibilities. And then, you know, then Friday afternoon, Saturday, and Sunday, I go ahead and I play PS4. So I'll be on PS4 this weekend for all my viewers who play on the PS4. You guys can expect me to be in there. We'll be doing dungeons this weekend. Also, I'll be probably sticking my head in Cyrodiil. I don't know why, but I will be doing that, and the sweeper's running now. But I'm going to let you guys go. Everybody have a nice day, and thank you.